Welcome to this week's virtual Drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege to be Parashas Vayishlach. And of course, one of the most dramatic parts of the parasha is the encounter, the long-awaited, much-anticipated reunion between brothers. Yaakov Avinu, not knowing exactly what was going to go on, how is this all going to unfold? Is he going to face an Esav who is a friend or a foe? And amazingly enough, so Esav somehow is moved by this encounter. He kisses Yaakov, he hugs Yaakov, he cries over Yaakov, and at least for a small period of time it appears that brothers were able to live in peace. Ultimately, each of them goes their own way and builds out their respective dynasty. But what I want to draw your attention to is the night before that encounter. Because the night before Yaakov Avinu encountered his brother Esav face to face, he engages in this mysterious battle. The Torah tells us that Yaakov Avinu was left all alone. Vayivaser Yaakov levado. Yaakov Avinu was left all alone. Vayeovek ish imo. He fights with a man, a mysterious man, ad alos hashachar, until dawn. And Rashi HaKadosh says this was no ordinary man, but rather again, this was Saro Shel Esav, the ministering angel of Esav. So although amazingly enough, Yaakov and Esav themselves never fight, it's because Yaakov already fought the battle the night before. He fought the Malach, he fought the angel of Esav already the night before. And of course we know that comes the next morning, Yaakov Avinu was able to hold his ground. And although he was injured, a significant injury, Yaakov Avinu walks away from the encounter limping, but at the end of the day he is still standing. And then there's an incredible exchange. The Torah says as follows. Vayomer shalchini ki Allah shachar. This is in Parak Lamed Beis Pasuk of Zayin, chapter 32, verse 27. The angel, the ish, the man, says to Yaakov, let me go, for the dawn has come. Vayomer lo ashalecha ki im berachtani. Yaakov says, I won't send you away unless you bless me. Okay, Yaakov wants a bracha from the Malach. The Malach says, Vayomer elov mashmecha. What is your name? Vayomer Yaakov. And Yaakov says, my name is Yaakov. And of course, the obvious question is, what's your name? Malach, Saro Shel Esav, ministering angel of Esav. You've been fighting with this man the whole night. You know exactly who he is. Of course, in other words, it wasn't just like that the angel of Esav was in a bad mood, so he decided to start a fight with someone. This was a targeted contact. At the end of the day, again, the Malach of Esav, he went and he attacked Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov didn't seek him out. The angel sought Yaakov Avinu out. So what do you know? At the end of the encounter, you're asking, Mashmecha, what is your name? And then, of course, again, Vayomer Yaakov. Yaakov says, my name is Yaakov. And then the Malach goes on to say, no, your name is not Yaakov anymore. Rather, your name is Yisrael. Your name is Yisrael. And the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh says something so incredibly beautiful. The Baal Shem Tov says that Malach was saying to Yaakov like this, Yaakov, you want a bracha. You want a bracha. Let me ask you, Mashemecha, what's your name? Now, dear friends, what's a name? A name is a form of identity. In fact, again, we mentioned this many times, that the Ari HaKadosh explains that when parents name a child, they are given a degree of prophecy. Because again, they're able to go ahead, a name has to capture the totality of the essence of the child. Of course, a parent only knows their child for a relatively short amount of time, so they have to give them a name. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu aids them with a dose of prophetic insight. So the Malach asks Yaakov, tell me, what's your name? Says the Rebbe, says the Baal Shem Tov. The Malach was asking Yaakov, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Or better stated, when you look in the mirror, who do you see? What's your identity? How do you define? How do you look at yourself? And Yaakov says, who am I? Vayomer? Yaakov. I'm Yaakov. Now, if we go back a couple of parashos, how did Yaakov Avinu get his name? Yaakov Avinu got his name because when they were coming out of the womb, Yaakov held onto the heel of Esav. You see, Yaakov was really the firstborn, as Rashi explains. And he felt again Esav was trampling on him. So what did he do? He held onto the heel to try to go ahead and bring Esav back. It's my place. I'm the firstborn. I'm the Bechar. And the truth is, this characterized much of Yaakov Avinu's life. He was always under the heel. He always had to go ahead and finagle and jockey for a position. Right? So even though Esav later on sells his birthright to Yaakov, but yet, despite the fact that Esav sold the birthright, Esav was still claiming it as if it was his own. So Yaakov Avinu has to find a way to go in and get the brachas. And with Lavan, when it's finally time to take leave of Lavan, and he's owed all of this money, again, it has to always happen in some type of surreptitious or circuitous way. He has to steal away from Yaakov. Yaakov is always the guy grabbing onto the heel of someone else. He's always being trampled. He's always the underdog. He's always at a disadvantage. So the Malach says, Yaakov, who are you? That's, who am I? I'm Yaakov. I'm the guy that the world tramples on. I'm the guy that is mistreated. I'm the guy who is always at a disadvantage. And the Malach says, no, you're not. Do you want to know who you are? Vayomer lo Yaakov ye'amra od shimcha. Your name is not Yaakov anymore. Ki im Yisrael. And what does Yisrael mean? Ki sarisa im Elokim ve'im anashim vatuchal. You literally again have right? Ki sarisa, you've overcome angels, you've overcome man, and you have triumphed. Rashi says you've overcome the men, Esav and Lavan, and you've overcome angels because here the ministering angel of Esav, fought with you the entire night, and you conquered me, right? You subdued me. The name Yisrael means ultimately, again, the ability to go ahead and master over adversity. You have overcome difficult people, you've overcome difficult angels, you've overcome difficult circumstances. Not just that you overcome it, you mastered it. Kisarisa, you become a master. Vatuchal, you have triumphed. See what the Malach was telling to Esav. What the Malach was saying to Esav is, at the end of the day, you want bracha? If you want good things out of life, and you want good things to happen, and you want positive outcomes, then you have to define yourself in a way where that becomes a possibility. But if you look at yourself as the underdog, if you look at yourself as the person who is perpetually trampled upon, if you look at yourself as the person who is always at the disadvantage, then that becomes the narrative that plays out over and over and over in your life. If you look at yourself as a Yaakov, then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in the narrative of your life. But if you look at yourself, if you self-define as Yisrael, I'm not a Yaakov. I'm the guy who, when faced with difficult people, I'll overcome. I'm the guy who, when faced with difficult circumstances, I will triumph. That's me. When you define yourself as Yisrael, then that unlocks a world of bracha for yourself. What the Malach was telling Yaakov is that so much of bracha, so much of blessing in life, is not dependent on what HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you. Because, Chevra, we know, like Chazal tell us, more than the baby wants to nurse, the mother wants to express the milk. Right? The mother has all of this milk to give, and if she doesn't express it, it's painful. So the Nimshal HaKadosh Baruch Hu has so much bracha to give. And more than we want to take the bracha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to give it to us. But you have to be in the right headspace. You have to be in the right realm. You have to have the right perception of yourself in order to be able to go ahead and receive that bracha. So if all you're going to look at yourself as the Yaakov, as the guy who's trampled upon by life, there's no bracha for Yaakov. But if you look at yourself, if you're willing to redefine yourself as Yisrael, I am the person who could overcome adversity and triumph. I am the person who could overcome difficult people. I am the person who could overcome difficult angels. I am the person who could overcome difficult life. That's me. That's me. I'm not going to get trampled by anyone or anything. And if I do, I'm just simply going to get back up and I'm going to triumph. If you look at yourself as Yisrael, then at the end of the day, bracha is waiting for you. Maybe better stated, maybe that is the bracha. Maybe the greatest bracha in life is to not look at yourself as a victim, but to look at yourself as the victor. Maybe the greatest bracha in life is that I'm the person, even when they are trampled upon, because it happens to all of us, I don't stay down. I don't view myself as under the heel of someone else, something else, or some life circumstances. But I'm the person that when life circumstances become difficult and overwhelming, when people mistreat me, when people hurt me, I'll overcome. I'll rise back up. I can handle anything that life throws my way. Not only can I handle it, not only can I manage it, but I can somehow take all of those circumstances and turn them into the ingredients and recipe for self-actualization and life success. To be a Yaakov sometimes is to be a victim. To be Yisrael ultimately is to be a victor. That's what the Malach was teaching Yaakov Avinu. And what an incredible and overwhelming lesson for us. We've been trampled upon. Our people have been trampled upon. And it's overwhelming to see. You know, we see this week, we see Baruch Hashem, that the hostages who are being reunited with their families. And when we watch this unfold, there's like such a mixture of emotions. On one hand, we're so happy that families that are being reunited. In some cases, unfortunately, not whole families, but people, loved ones are being reunited. Hostages are coming home to their beloved homes, to their beloved land. On the other hand, we think about, but what about all of those who are still in captivity? But you know what really hurts? You know what really hurts? Is how is this allowed to happen to us? How could Hamas trample upon us? And how could the nations of the world be so incredibly silent in the face of this indignation? How could such a Chilul Hashem, desecration of the Ribono Shalom, happen to his children, to us? That they take our children, our men, our women, our children, and use them like chips on a chessboard to be bartered. How could that happen to us? I feel so trampled upon. I feel so misused. And then we see in this country the tremendous torrent of anti-Semitism. And I feel like a Yaakov. That I have to think twice about going on a college campus. I was interacting with a wonderful group of young women who were in my shul last week for a simcha, who are in out-of-state universities, and asking them, how was it on campus? And they said, eyes cast downward. It's really difficult. That's every Ribono Shel Olam. These are your daughters. These are your children. We're being trampled upon. But herein lies our ability to actualize our Yaakov identity. Because, Chevra, what we show the world is that, yes, when you trample upon us and make us feel like a Yaakov, make us feel under the heel of other nations, under the heel of oppressive circumstances, under the heel of hatred, you know what we then do? You know what we do? We transform into a Yisrael. I could go from the person who is under the heel of others, under the heel of circumstances, and suddenly I become that person who shows the world that I could overcome any circumstance. I could overcome any enemy. I could overcome any oppressive force. I could overcome any difficult circumstance. Not only can I overcome it, it's not just I'm going to survive it. I'm going to become stronger because of it. I will take that heel that pushes me down and I will turn it on its head, so to speak. And I will be the one standing over my enemy. And I will be the one owning that difficult circumstance. And I will be the one who will emerge the victor. And like my patriarch Yaakov, I may walk away limping. Because sometimes, Chevra, the scars and the wounds and the pain that are inflicted upon us, they leave us broken. We're not the same people. We're just not. But I'll still be standing. I won't yield. I won't give up. I won't give in. And I refuse to identify myself as the victim. I refuse to go on living as the victim. I may start out as a Yaakov, but I will find the strength to transform myself into Yisrael. This is true on a national level, and we see the profound strength of our people, that even when those around us want to crush us, want to keep us under their heel, we become a Yisrael. And it's true in our personal circumstances as well. We all face difficult circumstances, sometimes difficult people, sometimes difficult life situations, and often I feel like I'm being crushed under the heel of life. But dear friends, when you feel that way, just dig deep inside yourself and find your inner Yaakov. And remind yourself that no matter what is pushing you down, no matter what is holding you down, no matter how heavy the heel that sits upon your heart, that sits upon your soul, at the end of the day, Ki sarisa im anashim im Elohim v'im anashim v'atuchal. We are the people who have the ability to contend with the most difficult enemies, the most overwhelming oppressors, the most debilitating life circumstances. And we have the ability to take all of those realities and turn them into the ingredients for self-actualization and personalized growth. Maybe Zochem Yirtzeh Hashem to make the transformation from Yaakov to Yisrael, both as a nation, as Klal Yisrael, and as individuals as well. I take the opportunity to wish everyone a good Erev Shabbos and a beautiful Shabbos Kodesh.